Hey guys, Station X here, and today we're not going to be unboxing anything. That's right, so I wanted to take a little bit of a break from that. I did 2 8-bit new videos in a row, and I figured you guys wouldn't want to see a third one in 3 weeks in a row. That's going to be next week. But we're going to be actually talking about completing a systems library, and essentially what that means is buying every single game for a system. For example, if I like the Xbox 360, which I'm a very big fan of, I would buy every single game that's ever released on it, just physically. And pretty much, you could go about it however way you want. There's certain, rules you could put on it, or certain criteria for what counts as part of you completing the systems library. Because if you don't, technically you never complete a systems library if you want to go into a deep rabbit hole with that. But essentially, my 3 criteria is that it has to have, it's got to be a first party kind of thing, like it's officially on the Xbox or whatever the system, it has to have the seal of approval, no third party company sort of garbage on there, like how the NES had third party cartridges instead of officially licensed ones. They have to be in the ESRB region. As much as I like having games from other regions, like Japan or Europe or even Australia, I'm part of the North American region, so I feel like it's easier and it makes the most sense to just to buy those games for that region. And thirdly, I just want it to be it has to have its own cartridge / disc, not necessarily I don't really count double packs or just bundled games where it'll have a game that's already have its own physical version alone, but it'll bundle it with another one. I do have some of them, and some of them technically do count since there's only one on the system. But for the most part, the 360 as another example just has a lot of those. And while I won't necessarily not buy them, but if I ever said I have the complete Xbox 360 collection, I wouldn't count those if I'm missing them. In fact, a lot of lists, when you look them up, don't have them listed on there, considering that it's already listed on there as its own entry, so they didn't feel the need to add a double pack version of there on there, like Forza 2 and Viva Pinata, the stuff like that. Just having it on one disc, and that's it. But without further ado, we're actually going to be talking about a specific console today, since I only have one complete collection for a system. It might be a little bit of a surprise, maybe not, who knows, but the system that I'm talking about is the Wii U. And so why I did that one was very simple. One, the Wii U has a very small library compared to everybody else. A lot of the times they have at least 500 games or more, with a few exceptions. Whereas this one has physically 166 games on there. So with that being said, it's a small library. There are libraries smaller than that. It's not the smallest, but as far as a mainstream console that everybody knows, it's something that's made by Nintendo that Nintendo doesn't try to ignore, really. It counts. It counts as part of it. When it has the smallest library, I think, out of any modern console in generations both previous and continuing on, because I don't know if we'll ever have that again, but it's also the smallest in modern recent memory. So it's very easy, and it's still technically still in retail stores. I mean, I know GameStop's still slowly phasing it out, and I know they're by the time of me recording this, they are kind of phasing it out. Well, when I started back in 2019, they were still a very big presence in stores. Not as big as obviously the new systems and whatever, but you get the idea. They were still there. You could still purchase them. You could still buy them for retail price or lower, and not pay hundreds of dollars. And because of that, actually, the games were not very expensive. You're not gonna find a game on the Wii U for thousands of dollars or whatever, like some of these other systems. The most expensive title, or the most purchased thing I've ever seen, is the Devil's Third game, sealed, $200. Or at least that's rounding it. I don't know exactly how much the amount I spent, but I could have saved some money and bought it pre-owned, like opened or whatever. But the difference in price was like 20-30 bucks. It was just like it was like a tomato sort of thing. I'd rather just have it sealed this way. I didn't even have to test to make sure the disc worked or anything. But my point is that this system is a fairly easy thing to collect for. You know, so without rambling on anymore, I would like to now show the Wii U systems library and then kind of get on to why I'm even doing this kind of video in the first place. So let's get on to it. Bring this top shelf here because these games wouldn't fit anywhere else, but over here going downward, this is my entire Wii U collection. Literally every single title you could possibly think of is here. And if I am missing something, then I could not find it online or anything. There's like zero documentation on that game. But literally, as far as I'm aware, as far as I'm concerned, this is everything. And so you have pretty much kind of like a mix between shovelware, like how its previous console, the Wii, did, and just actual titles that you would want to play. And I gotta say, the Wii U does have a lot of titles that, you know, people would like to play. Like, I mean, hey, look, you got Call of Duty, you have your NBAs, your sports titles and stuff like that. You have those wacky games that, you know, that actually have a cult following. So like Terraria, Tank is something I didn't, you know, hear a lot of people talk about. You have, what is this one? SteamWorld Collection, and you have the Tekken Tag Tournament on here. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, this is where new IPs like Super Mario Maker made its debut, or where's Splatoon? I know Splatoon here. There you go. Yeah, some of them don't have like a unique like thing here. They just use generic font for some of them. But yeah, Splatoon made its debut here. So I mean, the Wii U did give us some good stuff, but it also gave us some bad stuff. I mean, I don't have to mention Star Fox. And it's the fact that there's a lack of games in general. Just, it's not a system that has a whole lot of stuff. So there were obviously a lot of Nintendo IPs themselves that didn't really get a time in the sun, but also just stuff that just kind of flopped. I mean, Amiibo Festival, the new Star Fox game that was on here, all tried to either utilize the Wii U pads gimmick or just didn't use it enough. I kind of went into detail on why the Wii U failed in a separate video, but because of the Wii U's failure and not so much selling very well, resulted in no games really for it. Worse than it's ever been, because Nintendo's always had this problem of not having enough third-party support on the thing. But that's why there's so little titles on here, and that's why most part you get stuff like this, like your Pac-Man, Ghost Adventures, you got your Penguins of Madagascar, Phineas and Ferb, Planes, just, you know, stuff that no one really wants to buy. You got your usual offenders as well, like the Lego games. While they're very good, you're gonna see these a lot when you go through and buy collections for every system. If you're gonna go down that route, you're gonna have a lot of these repeats. And of course, your rhythm games, just, you know, specifically Just Dance is on here as well. They did make one Guitar Hero game on here. Didn't make a Rock Band, interestingly enough, on here, or at least not physically. And then you just got Disney Infinity, which I thought was funny. You got your Skylanders, stuff like that. The Wii U library has a very interesting just library of games. It's stuff that you probably wouldn't think would be on here, but are, and just kind of why would they be on here? I don't know. But essentially, the Wii U library also kind of feels kind of obsolete or pointless to buy. And the reason why is because pretty much, if you notice, a lot of these games either were on platforms that did way better, or they were ported over to the Switch itself. I mean, when you go by just the Nintendo games, which is always the argument that everyone wants to use for, oh, why is a Nintendo system so great? Well, Nintendo's own games is what makes it great. Well, you know, that ends up being a problem when they port over pretty much every single game that they made from the Wii U onto the Switch. So it kind of makes it pointless to even buy these versions. Ultimately, sometimes they're the better versions on the Switch compared to usually a deluxe edition or just a ultimate edition or whatever, where it has more stuff more features, more added content and stuff like that. Like, I could tell you right now, you know, Super Mario 3D World is a way better game on the Switch than it is on the Wii U, and that's just kind of my opinion on it. But there's just a lot of titles can be played on vastly better systems than the Wii U, although there are a few games that either aren't ported over to something else or just work the best on the Wii U, in my opinion. Like, I very much liked Lego City, for instance, on the Wii U, and at the time this was exclusive to the Wii U, but it ended up getting ported to other stuff. But yeah, the Wii U is just a very interesting console. Now, why am I even showing the whole Wii U collection in the first place? Well, I did want to start doing this for other consoles as well. You know, of course, this is the only one I have completed, but I want to try and complete other systems and show it off, you know, kind of like document it. And so, because a lot of systems don't necessarily have a whole lot of documentation when it comes to a full, complete set, other than, I guess, you know, Guinness World Record holders will usually have like every single major console completed, but they never really talk about like what games are on here. They don't really show off the whole list, kind of like going from here to here. And fortunately, because this is small enough, I could fit this in the description. I tested it out before, so I will have a list in the description of all the games that are on here, so you too can try and complete this one yourself, and hopefully that'll help people out. That's one of the other reasons why is I want to help others that want to do this sort of thing but are having a hard time trying to find a complete list. This one's a little easier to find, but you know, for future consoles, this is just kind of like the introduction to that. And so, and a third reason is to just kind of like, you know, like I said, if there's little documentation of it, I might not be able to find complete lists, and I might have a hard time trying to. So it's going to be like almost like a community effort. I would love to have a thing where, you know, we all just kind of get together and try to complete these systems ourselves and stuff like that. Like, if there's not a full list out there of just physical games for a specific region, then I would like to do that. This is, to start it off, I would like to just kind of do that. Every time I try to add a big portion of games to my game collection, I will post a video about it. So hopefully this will be a thing to kind of get the ball rolling to help others get a complete collection sort of thing, because I know it was hard for me to even get this. This took 2 years for me to get, and I know for some people it takes even longer. I'd rather just kind of cut all that time wasting of trying to find an actual list and just kind of make it easier for everybody to actually go ahead and do that. But pretty much that'll be it for today. My name is Station X, and I hope you have a wonderful day.